Welcome to ARCH32's refresher module, Guide to Site Analysis. I'm Assistant Professor Aaron Lecciones, and on behalf of the ARCH32 teaching team, I welcome you to today's lesson. What is site analysis? Architectural site analysis is the process of researching and analyzing the social, historical, climatic, geographical, legal, and infrastructural characteristics of a given site and synthesizing these analysis into visual information, usually in the form of site analysis diagrams. These characteristics are examined vis-a-vis project goals to guide decision-making throughout the design process that is informed and evidence-based. These decisions can change programmatic realities and also impact the proposed building structure and aesthetic. Some of the diagrams that are made include code regulation, massing studies, solar and wind studies, movement and circulation patterns, land use, and others. Site analysis is a vital step in the design process. It may involve any number of the following activities: the evaluation of an existing or potential site in relation to the development program, environmental impact, impacts on the community and adjacent properties, project budget, and schedule. Objectives of a site analysis is to produce an environmental program, identify development constraints and opportunities. A well-executed site analysis allows for a cost-effective, environmentally sensitive, and rational approach to project development. A client requests these services to evaluate development constraints and opportunities for a site, to assess one or more sites as basis for purchase, to assess the infrastructure characteristics of a site, to gain information as a basis for a zoning variance. Remember, a good site analysis will enable the client to exploit the full development potential of a site. Effective planning and zoning assistance can maximize the potential for regulatory approvals and significantly reduce the owner's risk of economic loss. In order to conduct a site analysis, the following knowledge and skills are required by the person conducting it: knowledge of climate, topography, soils, and natural features, knowledge of site utility distribution systems, ability to evaluate site access and circulation factors, understanding of building siting considerations, familiarity with planning and zoning ordinances, ability to analyze multiple factors objectively, and ability to work with related or specialty disciplines. The tasks that are done as part of a site analysis include program investigation, site inventory and analysis, site evaluation, and report development. Under program investigation, from either experience, intuition, or formal market research, the development approach for the site is determined. The focus in site inventory and analysis is on determining the development capacity of the site, so the program can be further defined in terms of density, open space, and environmental quality. Site evaluation then assesses the maximum potential for the site based on its intended use vis-a-vis its development capacity. Here, a thorough understanding of its opportunities and limitations is required. The resulting site program will set the stage for site design. All of this is then contained in a site analysis report. The first part of the site analysis is program investigation. You may already have been given some form of brief from your client regarding parameters for the intended use of the site. Incorporate these into the program investigation. Other sources of information that will affect program investigation include code regulations that influence development capacity and massing, among others, market research, which touches on economic feasibility, and sustainability, which impacts on environmental quality and social and political acceptability, among others. After the program investigation is site inventory. Here, you gather data on a plethora of parameters that include sun, wind, rain, land, and community dynamics parameters. Some subparameters are solar orientation for shade and lighting, natural ventilation and quality of air, water supply and stormwater management, geography, which includes topography, soil conditions, water bodies, and others, transportation and mobility networks, telecommunication, and other infrastructure, culture and heritage, town planning, zoning, and building codes, noise and security, and visual connections, among others. A more exhaustive list is shown on your screen now, a copy of which will be uploaded to your learning management platform for your reference. You will need to conduct field research in order to acquire much of the information you need to do site analysis. This is because site analysis considers the current physical condition of the site and even its surroundings, as well as any relevant historical information about what the site looked like previously. Some questions you can ask here are, have there been any significant changes to the landscape, to the physical landscape, the architectural landscape? What does the site neighbor? How long has the surrounding context been the way it is today? And what is the significance of this site to the community it sits within? Field research is all about feeling the history of the place. Take sketches, or make sketches, take photographs, read about the site, eat their food, stroll with the pedestrians. Feeling the politics of the community, talk to normal people about their place, interview and get to know their daily life, their problems, aspirations, and others. Feeling the climate of the area, smell the air, feel the wind, and others. Since we are still taking precautions due to the COVID-19 pandemic, there are resources online which allow you to conduct your field research at the safety and comfort of your home. You can use online tools such as Google Street View or Google Earth for a virtual representation of your site's surroundings. CAD Mapper or CAD Earth provide volumetric information and base layers. Google Maps, Bing Maps, or OpenStreetMaps provides a wealth of geographically tagged information on up-to-date satellite-derived maps. Meanwhile, software such as SketchUp can help with determining solar paths. Online apps like NOAA have historical natural hazard information. Government websites are repositories of codes and statistics, and you can always use internet search engines to crawl for other information. When conducting site analysis, think of looking at networks. Which of these parameters connect? And also look at relationships. How do parameters that connect impact each other? Sites are not inert plots of land, but should be treated as active networks where different systems or parameters are dynamically interacting with one another, and whose relationships should be understood to gain a better appreciation of how development may positively or negatively affect these networks and relationships. In analysis, one may look at the following aspects: natural physical features, such as contours, drainage patterns, soil type, bearing capacity, trees, rocks, ridges, peaks, valleys, pools, and ponds, or man-made features, such as buildings, walls, drives, curb cuts, hydrants, power poles, and paving patterns. You may also even look at off-site features of surrounding developments, looking for scale, roof forms, fenestration patterns, setbacks, materials, colors, open spaces, visual accesses, paving patterns, landscaping materials, and patterns, and others. Look at circulation as well. These include vehicular and pedestrian movement. Look for peak loads for surrounding vehicular traffic, pedestrian movement, bus stops, site access edges, traffic generators, and others. Look into utilities, such as electricity, gas, sewer, water, telephone, internet, and others. Look at location. These may include the site, the city map, the state map, or the location map. Look at the distance times and travel times to related functions in other parts of the area. Look also for neighborhood contexts. These are the contexts immediately surrounding the site for perhaps 3 to 4 blocks beyond the site boundary. Look at site and zoning. These include all your building and code regulations. Also look at legal aspects. These include legal descriptions of the property, any deed restrictions, present ownership, and others. Important as well is sensory. Document the visual, audible, tactile, and olfactory aspects of the site. Look into human and cultural. Look around the surrounding neighborhood. What is the culture? Does it have any psychological impact? What are the behavioral and sociological aspects? Here you may also look at a sense of place. And of course, look at climate. This presents all pertinent climate conditions, such as rainfall, snowfall, humidity, temperature variations, and others. Other factors for analysis include location of the site in relation to the region, city, and neighborhood, nearby points of interest and distances and travel times between them, existing zoning, existing uses, and projected future uses, existing use of exterior space, vehicular and pedestrian circulation patterns, solid void space relationships, significant architectural patterns and nearby buildings of significant value, contours, major land and water features, vegetation, site pedestrian and vehicular circulation, site sensory, which include views into, from, and through the site, the quality of the views, points of interest, and sources of noise. Human and cultural, which include neighborhood population demographics, and positives of negatives of your development. After site inventory and analysis is site evaluation. Here, evaluation tools and techniques are used to maximize the potential for the site for its intended use by developing a thorough understanding of the opportunities and limitations the site offers. In this refresher module, we will review SWOT and SWOT+. SWOT analysis is a standard evaluation tool used to identify, organize, and prioritize the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats to aid planning, design, development, implementation, and evaluation of almost any program or project. It is an open brainstorming technique in organizational planning and defines relationships among the identified SWOT factors to guide decisions about what to do next. Values are assigned to SWOT elements and they arrive at indicative priority needs. SWOT should be clearly stated and linked to measurable performance indicators. The 4 basic parts of the SWOT are strength, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. The aspects investigated in these 4 are how much they are an asset for strengths and opportunities, how much they are a liability for weaknesses and threats, how much they are external to the site, opportunities and threats, and how much they depend on the site itself, strength and weaknesses. In a traditional SWOT, we end up with listing down the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. In a SWOT+, we provide rankings to each of the SWOT factors. They are ranked based on either being an asset or liability and being external or internal. Usually, this is from a grade of 1 for least and 5 for most. For example, In the table shown, the SWOT factors are listed according to SWOT category and are graded accordingly. Under strength, 3 SWOT factors are identified: the flat terrain of the property, the presence of trees, and the regular cut of the lot. For the flat terrain, it is an asset because it is easy to build on, but because it is flat, it also does not provide interesting vistas. Thus, a mark of 3 is given for asset. The factor of flat terrain, though, is entirely dependent on the lot itself, as no matter what happens outside the lot, it will always remain flat. Thus, it gets a mark of 5 for being very internal to the site. Let's take the weakness of poor ventilation. Inside the lot, the ventilation is not so good due to the presence of many trees. And for how much this depends to the lot internally, it gets only a mark of 2. Since the ventilation is very much affected by the building height of the surrounding adjacent developments. The rest is done for all the remaining SWOT factors. Once completed, the results are placed in a SWOT plus matrix. The completed matrix for this example is shown on your screen. Here, the matrix shows which strengths should be maintained, which weaknesses need to be improved, opportunities that should be nurtured, and also threats that should be reduced. You may choose a specific threshold, but generally, SWOT factors farthest from their quadrant corner should be a priority. For example, for weaknesses, being a brownfield and poor ventilation are factors that need to be prioritized for improvement, especially since both are highly dependent on outside factors. Use the matrix to conduct an evaluation of all the other SWOT plus factors. The evaluation results will be used to recommend areas where you should maintain strengths, improve weaknesses, nurture opportunities, and reduce threats. If you have a limited budget, use the matrix. The matrix will provide a justification for priority areas. The last part of the site analysis is report development. In the outline provided to you, the report is composed of 4 parts. The introduction, where you describe and provide a brief overview of the project. The site inventory and analysis, which contains the information gathered on the site and its analysis. And site evaluation, your SWOT plus evaluation. And lastly, your conclusions and recommendations. I hope this refresher module was useful for you. If you have any questions, please do not hesitate to contact any of your instructors for ARCH32. Thank you and have a good day.